Meet our free U.S. tax preparation course brought to you by the Borderless Accountant. We are inviting you to join our community. Live training, reputable tax firms as resource speakers, recorded, replayable at higit sa lahat, libre. To join, like and follow our official Facebook page, join our Facebook group for important updates, and fill out our Google form to be included in our mailing list. See you there!
All right, guys. So yeah, let's start early today. We already have presenter or someone who will introduce herself today. I think we'll good with one, and then we'll cover meals. I think we have depreciation presentation from Glenn today, and then Melissa for meals, and I think we should be good. Um, well, we want to make it quick today because I want to go early to the church today as well. Then mag-grocery ako. Punta ako ng Filipino grocery doon sa city kasi I miss Filipino food. Kasar. Yeah, I'm so Filipino in terms of food there. So, yeah, target na natin 9:30 we're done. Right. So dito ba si ano, was her name B ba? B or G? I don't recall, basta tatlong letter lang yung name niya. Is she here today? Then you can, Glenn, you can follow after.
Yes.
Actually, we can have Melissy. Melissy, we can have Melissy, and then you can follow after Melissy. Melissy, have you introduced yourself already or not yet?
Not yet, sir. I try.
Okay,
Good evening,
right.
good
So,
morning. Yes, Milesi Kamsa here. Some call me Miles. It's sinortcut lang. Nung nag-start ako mag-work, nahirapan daw sila mag-pronounce ng name ko, so they call me Miles. Pero sa bahay kasi talagang Milesi yung buka. I'm a graduate of BS Accountancy. Medyo late ako na nag-graduate, 5 years kasi ako na-stop. Yung poverty kasi, so mag-give way ka sa siblings mo, ganun. So, nag-graduate ako with the help of scholarship, ganun. Tapos, nag-work agad. Ay, hindi pala. Nag-review through sponsorship ng um, advisor. Tapos, nag-take ako agad kahit hindi ako prepared. Alam ko, 6 months after the review. And then, hindi na ako nakapasa. Then, nag-work agad. Then, 20 years. I work in different companies, business line, manufacturing. Tapos, yung pinakamatagal po, yung events organizer. I started as staff and then I ended finance manager. Medyo initially, maliit pa kasi yung company with 7 employees. Naging admin. Sa Philippines kasi, if you know all, parang magiging HR, admin, logistics, gano'n. Tapos lumaki yung company, eventually, naging 51, tapos may mga contractors. Na-overwhelm ako sa trabaho. Kaya may times na natutulog na ako sa company, parang gano'n. So, ako na talagang hirap na rin ako. Tapos bawal pang, parang 24/7 ka kasi pag events. So, bawal mag-freelance. Bawal kasi may mga, din ako, parang malilit na clients. Tapos nalaman ng boss ko, hindi pwede daw. So, nag-decide ako na, nag-resign ako kasi may mga clients na ako. And then, pandemic, nag-resign ako, tapos nag-pandemic. So, parang, yung mga clients ko nagsara, natakot ako, walang income. Na-late akong nalaman na may ganito pala na may virtual account, virtual bookkeeping, ganyan. Late ako nalaman na may mga ganun. So, after pandemic na, nakita ko na may ganun pala. Pero until now, din ako nag-take into, din ako, mga seminars pa. Pero wala pa rin, hindi pa kasi ako nag-attempt mag-apply sa bookkeeping kasi as of now, may full-time ako na work from home, medyo nahirapan din ako ngayon. Kaya parang gusto ko na talagang siguro try mag-US prep kasi bookkeeping medyo medyo rigid sa So, eto po, nagtitiyaga din sa ni sir na sobrang daming mga kagaya sa local po na may mga kaya ka gustong maghawak ng kanilang business, eh may mga insights na paano kung magbawas ng taxes. Parang US din pala, may mga add-on na ano para makagaan sa business nila and how to um, provide expense. Yung dapat may ganito, may dapat kumuha kayo ng HMO para bawas sa taxes nyo, ganyan kasi okay. Like insurances, may ganon. May mga ganon akong sinasabi din sa client. So yun parang sabi ko, parang US din po. So yun, medyo hindi ako sanay na naggaganito. Madaldal ako kasi typically Ilocano, para kaming mga ano. Pero pag hindi ako sanay sa ganito, yung speaking to people, gano'n. Yun yung isa pang ano ko, kaya parang nag-accounting din ako dahil parang gusto ko talaga yung wala kang kausap. Pero ito, naano ko kasi kay Sir Chris na, or you must, parang may assertive, may walang change. Gusto mo pero ayaw, hindi mo gagawin, wala talaga mangyayari. Parang kailangan mo talagang, yan, lakas loob ba siguro. Kaya yan, nagkahapon talagang, matagal ko nang gusto rin mag-present, magsalita, pero kahapon pa, sige na nga, kaya ko naman kasi intindihan ko naman yung meals, ganyan. So, ayun po, I'll try po, sir. I hope classmates maano yung presentation ko. Gumawa ako ng konting PowerPoint. Actually, try ko pong ilagay sa ProConnect, pero hindi ko makita yung schedule C. Sa schedule A po ako So, to start with, share ko na lang yung screen ko. Di ko rin alam kung paano, my first time, so I hope you bear with me. Ano ba? Paano mag-share screen, anak? Okay. Ayan. Okay na, thank you. Ayan po, I hope, ayan. So, itemized deductions on sa ProConnect kasi, nakita ko siya na, sorry. Hinahanap ko yung schedule C, so wala. So, schedule A yung pinagdagyan ko. Pero anyway, meal deductions is under itemized deductions. Why meal deductions matter? Because it will reduce the taxable income important for self-employed, freelancers, and small business owners. We need to know about meal deductions to avoid audit risk by knowing the rules. Meal deductions basics generally 50% deductible daw as in the past we have learned in the past, and must be directly related to the business, must not be lavish or extravagant. What makes a meal deductible? To qualify a meals to be deductible, it should be with a business associate or client. There must be clear business purpose. Then there should be a document, of course, yung the taxpayer must be present during the meal, or the owner or employee of the business must be present during the meal. And then it must be properly documented, may receipts or something, bank statement. Ayan. There are percentages that are allowed to be deducted as meals deductible. Na-research ko lang ito, pero yun din yung na-discuss sa atin in the past. Business meals with clients, it's 50% of the amount. Tapos meals during business travel, 50% also. Meals provided to employees for benefit, 100%. Ito, hindi ko alam kasi parang hindi ko na to doon sa video ni sir. Pero I hope deductible din talaga. Company holiday party meals, 100% daw. And meals provided at a seminar or conference, 50%.
Let me pause you there,
Okay.
Miles. If you go back to the previous slide, I just want to make some emphasis there. So yung mga 100% dyan, like meals provided to employees for benefit, company holiday meals, when you're doing the books, don't classify that as meals, ha? So para hindi siya malagay as one line for meals, 50% sa software. Kasi kung 100% yan, sayang naman yung other 50%. So as
Oh,
bookkeeper, you categorize that as, say, for example, yung meals provided to employees for benefit. You can put that as employee benefit, right, na expense. Para 100% yung
hindi na po siya
deductibility
list.
amount.
Okay.
Right? So,
Yes.
an example of that is like, for example, sa cafeteria, libre yung meals dun sa mga employees. The cost of that will
Benefit.
have to be charged as employee benefit. Yung company holiday party meals, company events, possible ibang account title naman yung gamitin nyo. Maybe company events, right? Or events, something like that, doon sa chart of accounts. Don't classify them as meals. Okay? So, sa books niyo pa lang, and kunyari, yung bookkeeper nagkamali, lahat yan charge to
Yes.
meals.
Okay.
Pagkakita nyo as tax preparer
50%.
naman, and medyo malaki yung meals, then you would ask the taxpayer, hey, taxpayer, I see a huge amount or a significant amount in meals. Do you mind providing me details about this? Because this could trigger an audit from the IRS, right? Pag masyadong malaki yung meals and hindi justifiable ba, right? So in that case, as a taxpayer, you have to do your due diligence. Okay, hindi nyo lang basta-bastang
Classification
itinigil
na
na
lang po.
number. Yeah, check the the
Okay.
materiality ng amount. Okay, I hope that's clear for you guys. And you may want to continue now.
So, meals is not deductible daw when with friends or with no business talk. Personal meals, even if you're working or the taxpayer is working, meals while commuting, lobbies or excessive spending. Alright. Meals deductions for self-employed can deduct 50% of qualifying meals. Yung track meals during client meeting. So, siguro may suggest natin din kapag sa client na um, to track meals during client meetings, business travels, networking events, ganun, para din ma-charge niya sa business niya. And it's tax deductible. Ayun, where to report meal deductions daw, it's in Schedule C. Actually, kasi Schedule A yung nakita ko, may something siguro na nagalaw ko sa ProConnect. And then 50%, generally talaga, 50% limitation yung pwedeng i-deduct. Yun nga, pagka ganun pala is 100% yung like benefits na lang. I-charge to benefit or reclassify natin to benefit. So I listed example here. Okay lang po sir, i-ano ko na yung ProConnect. I-share po.
Yes, ma'am. While you're doing that, let me address a question of Annalisa Benedito. Ano po amount ng meals to be considered na excessive? May tips ba dito? Yeah. If you recall the previous material that was shared to us by the EA presenter, the dito, the threshold for the IRS for outright expense ng meals is $75. So somewhere around that amount is justifiable, right? So $75 to maybe 100 per meal. Actually, malaki na nga yan eh. Kasi if you go to a restaurant, maybe $50 is already, hindi pala. Kasi depends din sa location eh. Depends kung saan yung state nung taxpayer. Because if, let's say, he's in New York or California where it's really, really expensive, maybe $100 is justifiable. But if you go to other state, $50 is already is reasonable. So I would say walang specific in terms of like how much, but just follow, I would say, the threshold ng IRS na $75. Kasi sabi ni IRS, pag $75 yan yung meal, you don't need to present documentation, right? Pwede yun. But anything above that, the IRS may come back to the taxpayer and ask details about that meals, right? So if I I don't know if I answered your question, Annalisa, but yeah, just refer to the $75 na guidance ni IRS.
$75. So, malaki yung sa example ko. Anyway, so yun sir, yung ProConnect,
are you, because we were not seeing your ProConnect screen earlier.
I don't know if there's something that I inputted na hindi ako makapunta sa Schedule C. It's here, sir, sa Schedule A. Okay. Hindi to lang. Actually, sa example ko,
Yeah, I think it's your headset, Melissa, that's giving us an echo. But yeah, I think we'll have to bear with it for just, we just need to bear with Melissa. It's okay. It's not gonna be like she's presenting the whole time. But you can hear her, right? So right now you're in that screen. I think this is the same screen that JR put as a screenshot. Note that in the note, you see, do not use this for Schedule C, Schedule E, and F, right? Because this will go to Schedule A, and this is rarely used. I have never come across this deduction ng meals na nasa Schedule A. It's very, very rare, and I don't know why that is the case, but I have not come across that. So you're in the wrong section.
yeah.
So what I'd like you to do is go to click on view all input screens, and then go to the table of contents.
Dito, sir.
Yeah, you see there, view all input screens. Okay, you're there already. Do you want to ask me where to go?
Yeah,
So
sir.
input
please.
screen. Yeah, click on input screen. And then down below, you see view all input screens. No, scroll your mouse up. Yeah, you're almost there. You were there earlier.
Here, sir.
Then a little down, a little down. You see there? Yeah. No, you just passed it. View all input screens. No, it's somewhere above that, Melissa. Above that. Yeah, you're almost there.
The color
Right
blue
above
po.
that.
Above all in
Above,
English.
above all.
Yan po.
There.
Ayun. Sorry. Okay.
That's all right. I know you're nervous. So right here, you're in the table of contents, right?
Yes,
So I'd like
sir.
you to go to business income, Schedule C. It's in the middle.
Business income.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So remember that meals is a business expense and it will go to Schedule C. So that is where you will input it. Okay?
Yes po.
We have not covered Schedule A yet, but just so you know, it's for itemized deduction, not related to the business. Okay? But we will cover Schedule A at a later time. So, yeah, in this case, wala kang input for business, right? Like you have not, is this Michael Carter? Is this the only return you have? Do you have a return na may, na
Ito
may
lang.
input for business?
Itong kay Michael Carter, meron po ako. Yun yung ginawa ko kanina. Pero sa income pa lang kasi ako nakapag-input. Tapos sa
I see.
deduction.
Okay. Can you go to income statement?
Sorry, sir.
Can you go to income statement? Just, yeah, there. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there is an input into that kasi kanina when you showed us the table of contents, the Schedule C wasn't in bold. So that was already telling me that there's nothing in your Schedule C. So maybe you have another client that you prepared a return for. Do you want to go back to your list of returns?
Sa 1040 yata ako nakapag-input.
Yeah, so see, your Schedule C there is not in bold. Remember, when it's in bold, there's something there, but it's not in bold, so that means there's no input into that schedule. So what I'm trying to say, Melissa, is that maybe you have another return that you prepared with a Schedule C. So do you want to go back to your list of returns?
Yes, sir.
Right. So you want to go back to your list of returns to the left side of your screen. You see there, you can see list of returns, right? By clicking on returns. Yep. There. Maybe it's somewhere there. You have couple sample and you have sample. No, you keep opening the same return. That was what we were opening earlier. I know you're nervous. Just relax.
Ito kasi yung ginawa ko, sir. Nag-input ako kanina ng mga dividends, ng mga ano.
Okay, but you did not input Schedule C yet.
Wala pa.
Because that's okay. That's okay if you haven't put anything. So we can work on that. Just click on Michael Carter. And this is where your comm skills will come into play, guys. Comm skills is not about English. It's about control of the conversation, right? If you don't know what you're doing, relax, ask a question, right? And a lot of people that I work with, nagsishare ng screen, I'm trying to help. Kung ano-ano nang clinic-click, di pa ako natatapos, right? So the way that we can work together if, we're working on a return together is that patapusin muna ako, let me provide the instruction, and saka muna mag-click ng screen, right? So hindi all over, nagki-click na, tapos ano-ano ng direction ng screen. It's not a good use of time. So yeah, that's again, communication. You are able to control the conversation, right? So go to Carter Michael again, and then go to Schedule C. Right, so click on his name, the return name. Right, good job. Go to income statement. Right, so right now you have nothing there, right? But we'll try to input meals. So let's say you're too excited, you input meals right away without any other entries to Schedule C. Let's see what happens. So right, go to deduction somewhere, my meals agenda portion. Scroll down. Scroll down. You see there, you went down pretty fast. Scroll a little bit up.
Up. 50%.
There. So meals 50%. So 50%, it doesn't mean you enter the 50%, right? You enter the entire 100%. The system will compute the 50% of that. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So you want to close that. You don't need to get the detail. You don't need to enter the details. Just click OK or X, right? And then in meals, put whatever meals you have in mind, whatever meals expense you have in mind for the year. Right, 780. Okay.
For a
And
year
then
naman po.
try to preview your return. Go to return or check return. Click on forms. Yeah, I bet you know where to go.
Ito po sa
Go,
1040.
now go to Schedule C.
Ay, sige.
There.
Ayun, hinahanap ko yan kanina.
All right, go down.
Oh, 938.
Right. So you have meals 938. What amount did you enter? Was it 938?
1,785. Yeah, the half of the
Right.
sir, 50% po.
Half of the 938. That's just where I wanted you to guys see. So kaya nga short lang to na presentation. That's where you input meals in the Schedule C. And then what you need to input is 100% amount, not the 50%, because the software will do the calculation for you. Okay?
So definitely
Easy, right?
po lahat talaga ng 50% ay doon. Pagka 100% is another account na lang siya.
Correct.
Diba?
Right. Good job in including that in your slide, because if you did not present that slide, I would not have made that emphasis to you guys. Because what I have in mind is just where to input the meals in ProConnect. But you put in, again, that's the beauty of you guys presenting, because you have the time to research, and then I just make an emphasis, right? Good job, Melissa.
Thank you.
You did a job. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
How did that feel?
Medyo, mula kanina umaga, sir, talagang nag-input ako. Yun, parang di rin makikita. I don't know what have I done. Nag-input muna. Nag-start ako from, umpisa, sir. Thank you.
All right. So you use Perplexity? Ask Perplexity how to input meals in Schedule C in ProConnect?
Yeah, ang sabi niya is, it's this one, sir. Hold on. Schedule C then 24B. Kaya lang, hindi ko makita yung schedule C. Kaya hindi ko.
Okay, no problem. That's why we have this exercise, right? So kita niyo naman saan pupunta pag sa meals, right? It's Schedule C. There's a specific provision for meals. And again, you input the 100%, not the 50%. Okay? Clear? Clear as crystal?
Yes. Basta lagi,
Right.
50% lang talaga. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Melissa. Good job. Let's give Melissa a round of applause. All right. Melissa, you may mute yourself because I don't know if there's something with your headset that's causing some a little noise lang naman. JR, I think your question was related to what she was showing earlier, so that was wrong. I hope you already got your question answered. Mini coach, my difference po ba sa percentage allowed yung meals na pinadeliver sa office versus dine-in? Kung good question there, Mini, kasi uso na ngayon yung Uber, di ba? Uber Eats or sa atin Food Panda. Sa US, DoorDash naman sila. Uber Eats at DoorDash. Meron pang, basta marami ng food delivery sa US. Kapag pinadeliver yan and it's for a client, right? Siguro nagpunta si client sa office, that's 50% deductible. Pero pag ang owner lang ang kumain, nagpa-deliver siya kasi nag-extend siya ng work sa office, nag-order siya online, hindi yan deductible. It's a personal expense and it will not be deductible. Unless may mga employees na involved, nag-overtime, nag-order ng pizza or something like that, pwedeng meals yon. But it's not meals na it should not be categorized as meals in your chart of accounts. It should be categorized as employee benefits or something, related to that. Just not meals, right? Kasi nga yung meals, you use that for the 50% or 80% na deduction. Na-answer naman yung question, Mini. I hope I did. Glenn, ano po ba meals to be considered excessive? To add lang po in this question, inclusive na po ba yung sales tax, yung amount ng meals? Yes, even sales tax and tips are included. It can be deducted. And included na yun sa $75 na threshold. What is the need for DOT meals in full and disallowed meals override, coach? I don't know what the disallowed meals override is. It's something that is in ProConnect, but not in other software naman. I don't know how to answer the question. But for DOT, this the Department of Transportation, usually applicable to sa mga long-haul drivers, right? Mga truck drivers that nag-interstate travel. So their meals are 80% deductible. Right. All right, thank you. Yeah, sa mga involved sa mga freight service, marami yan sila. Nag-i-interstate yung mga truck na malalaki. Yun. And sometimes they're also considered as statutory employees. Yun yung mga example. All right, guys. Diba? Marami pa tayong time. So, wala si ano, no? Wala si B ba yun? Or, yeah, si B. Kung nandito ka, B, paramdam ka. Otherwise, we can move on to Glenn to present to us the input of prior year depreciation.
Yes po, Coach. Coach and classmates, can you hear me all right po? Wala po kasi akong earphones right now.
Yeah, we can hear you well. Very well.
Sige po, mag-share screen na po. Sige po, classmates, Coach, I'm here to present po yung answer sa question ni Sir JR. Thank you, Sir JR. I had more work to do because of your question. Salamat po. So I missed that part. But for simplicity's sake na lang po, I just wanted to use the same sample asset from last time presentation, but this time I changed the year date placed in service to 2022 instead of 2024. So basically, there have since we are preparing for a 2024 return, there have been 2 years of prior na depreciation na po na nangyari. So, description of property laptop, asset category, recovery period, 5-year property, based na rin po sa sa publication. So date placed in service, January 14, 2022. Same rin po yung cost or basis. Then depreciation method, same pa rin po, 5-year, makers, 200% declining balance. Convention, half year. Again, as a review, half year is only applicable for the first year. On the year, the asset has been placed into service. So I actually prepared this. Simple. I'm sorry with my we call this Excel G sheet file. I'm not very good at. I'm not really like an expert in Excel, anyways. But the information are here, as you can see, and we are at 2024 preparing for 2024 tax return. So there have been what you call this 2 years that have passed already, depreciation that we need to consider. So 1,800 the basis here, and then let's just suppose na the taxpayer did not opt to claim for Section 179 deduction. But since this is the first year, 2022, and it is a 5-year property or a computer, qualified po siya sa special depreciation allowance. So 1,800 cost basis minus the special depreciation allowance, adjusted basis na po natin is 1,720. So as you can see, I've already copy pasted the amounts from the publication. Just for review, the Appendix A here, 5-year, 20%, 32%, and all. And so, for easier na lang po na calculation. Tapos, I multiplied the adjusted basis to with the depreciation rate. So I got this 144. So, and for the next year, ganun din po, copy-paste na lang po yung basis dito. Sinadjust na po siya because of these amounts. What happened?
Yeah, you can hit escape and
You can somehow do it. Okay, so medyo buggy po kasi minsan yung tablet. Anyways, here I'm going to go to the ProConnect so I can enter the amounts. So again, we go to deductions, and under it we can put the depreciation. Oh yeah, so I need to input the details again since I deleted the first one from before. So forms coming from Schedule C, going into Schedule C, and then US tax. The category is this time still the same. Taxpayer date placed to service. This time is 2022. So 01/14/2022. This is already automatic. And it already happened the special depreciation allowance on the 2022. And this is again 2024 tax return. So the cost basis is 1,800. The taxpayer did not opt for 179 sections 179. So same method, makers 5%, 5 years. And then this is automatic, already happened as well, the half year. So here we input the prior years. So how much do we input here though? To answer that, we just need to add the previous years and input the accumulated amount. So hindi po siya like previous year lang, but rather kailangan kung ilan na yung depreciation from nakaraan, dapat po total po siya or accumulated po siya. So in this case, may 2 taon na po na nagdaan, and depreciate po siya. So yung depreciation amounts ng year 1 at saka year 2, 2022 and 2023 is now 374.40. So that's the amount that we're going to input. Prior depreciation, 374.40. But let's not forget na on 2022, qualified po siya yung asset sa prior sa special depreciation allowance. So we need to input this as well, this amount. So 1,080, 1,000, 1,880. 1,008. So section 79 did not take that. So what else? Did I forget anything? I don't think so. So we can go to check return. Now I wanted to point out din po kasi merong actually nagkaroon ako ng issue dito. Kasi it should be flow to form 4564, was it? 55, I forgot. The form, yeah, 4562. But if you can see it here, wala. Hindi po siya nag-generate po ng ano. Meron po kasi, ni-research ko po siya, may problema pala si ProConnect kasi hindi po siya, kapag, as long as wala pong bagong, bagong asset na nilagay during that year, hindi, automatic po siya na hindi nag-generate. So since ito, 2022 pa yung dates present service natin, not 2024, hindi po siya nag-generate. Pero meron po siyang solution actually. Buti na lang po nakakita ako somehow. Dito po sa miscellaneous, para po sa mga gagamit ng ProConnect, meron po dito tayong pwedeng i-click. Then dito po, merong form 4562, kailangan po natin siyang i-force. So para po magawa yun, lagay po natin number 2. So since natapos na po yan, balik po tayo sa check return. Form, tapos US 4562, lumabas na po siya, no? Ngayon na po siya. So yun po. So bakit, patitingnan po ninyo yung amounts, bakit wala po siya dito? Wala po siyang amounts dito sa 5 years, 19B, 5-year property. Bakit wala po? Kasi nag-enter naman po tayo, di ba? Actually, ang dahilan lang po niyan ay, ito po, nasabi dito, assets placed in service during 2024. So yung nilalagay ko lang po nila dito, napopopulate dito is yung mga asset na nilagay or placed in service during 2024. Yung atin is 2022. So yung ano po natin actually nandito, yung sa from prior year, nandito, makers deduction for assets placed in service in tax years beginning before 2024, which is 2022 before po siya ng 2024. So 138, bakit po? Kasi kinonsider na po niya ito ng depreciation ng 2024. So ito po siya. Yun na po yung nilagay niya doon. So, para kung magkaroon to dito naman, 5 years dito sa ano na to, kailangan po, for example, mangyayari lang po yan kapag meron po tayong nilagay na bago. Kung gusto nyo po, pwede ko rin po subukan na lagyan this time para meron din pong lumabas. Mabilisan na lang po ito para back to asset. Pag lagay po tayo ng isa, this time, sabi na po ng office desk, then schedule, sirin po. Mag-details na lang po tayo. Activity name, same. Category, furnitures and fixtures po. Tapos taxpayer. Date, place to service, sabihin lang po natin 4 sa March, April, sabihin na lang po natin April 15, 2024 na. 2024 na po . So, okay, sabihin po natin yung cost basis ay 2,000. Method, kung titingnan po ninyo doon na naman sa publication 946, iba naman po yung sa kanya. Magiging nandito po sa 7 years furnitures. Pero check lang po natin para ano po. Saan yun? Ayun. So po yun, nakita po ng office furniture, 7 years property po siya. So balik ako. So yun na yun. Ano else? Automatic naman po siya. Hindi ko lang po sure kung ano siya sa special depreciation. Pero sabi nga po dun sa ano last time, mostly po nang nasa special depreciation ay most tangible property with a recovery period of 20 years or less, excluding listed property with certain restrictions, apply po yung special depreciation allowance. So maybe, so tingnan na lang po natin. Hindi ko na po no. Four, 5, 6 to po. Makita po niya, may lumabas na. Opo, so actually, di ba 2,000 po yun na basis supposedly. So yung sa special allowance, binawasan po siya ng 1-2. Kaya naging 800 yung basis. So ano pa, applicable talaga sa kanya. So, tapos naging 114 lang po kasi after nito ano, binawasan na naman kasi naging half year kasi qualified po siya. Automatic po siya sa half year. Oh, before po makakalimutan ko po, sinabi po natin, di ba, na 5 years lang. Kung papansinin po ninyo, year 1, year 2, pero hanggang year 6. Bakit po? Kasi simple lang siya. Itong mga years na nandito, ito sila, year 2, year 3, year 4. Yung calculation po nila ay full year. Na 12 months po talaga. Pero ito sila at saka ito, year 6 at year 1 ay naka-half year po sila. Kasi na half year po dito, so mahahati rin dito siya sa huli. So, na half year sila dalawa. Kaya 6 months, tapos plus 6 months, 6 months, 1 year, tapos, plus 4 years, 5 years. So, 5 years. What else? Coach, may nakalimutan po ba ako? Wala na po siguro. Yun lang po, Coach. Salamat po.
Good
Ay,
job. Oh, go ahead.
hindi ko po wala napakita yung schedule. Sorry. So, kung i-add po siya, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5, 4. 1, 2, 1, 3, 8, tapos 1, 1, 4, plus 1, 3, 8, 1, 1, 4, 1, 4, 5, 2, no? Opo, 1, 4, 5. Ay, salamat.
All right, good job. Another fantastic work there, Glenn. Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel like nanonood na naman ako, no? So it's a good thing that Glenn took or went out of his way to research about the limitations in ProConnect. I did not know that, right? That kapag pala walang new asset for the year or yeah, no new asset acquisition for the year, hindi lalabas si 4562 unless you force it sa ProConnect. It's not the case for other tax software kasi.
Okay.
And then
Kinabahan po
I
kasi
also,
kinabahan po kasi mo lang lumabas.
yeah. And again, good job in going out of your way to research on that. And then, I mean, that just goes to prove, no, na you don't have to be knowledgeable right away in navigating the software because when you know what to expect the software to produce and it's not showing up, then you can research about it, right? And I also saw you doing the computations Excel. That was good job. um but in practice, guys, you don't have to do the computation. You don't have to have that Excel file that he did because you will be looking at the prior year return, right? So yung prior year return, meron na yung 4562. Doon na nakalagay yung kung mayroon bang Section 179 na tinake, meron bang bonus depreciation na tinake the prior year, and then how much was the depreciation taken in the prior years. So that's already given for you. All you need to do is just input those into the software. Okay, but Glenn was showing us the Excel because he did not have a prior year return to refer to, right? So baka ma-intimidate lang kayo na, ay magkakailangan pa pala mag-compute, kailangan pa pala ng math skills dito. Hindi na. So, ang need nyo lang is alam nyo, like, when you're reviewing the return, pinaka-PDF naman yung return eh. When you look at it and you see 4562, you know what it is, right? 4562, these are the listings of the assets. And nakalagay dito yung lahat ng assets na acquired the prior year that I need to input into the tax software. You get what I'm saying? So, yan lang. And while we're at it, Glenn, since you have a very good example already of a Schedule C, i-cover lang natin today na rin yung insurance premium for self-employed individuals kasi wala namang nag-volunteer na presenter. It's very simple lang din naman. If you want to show your screen lang and let's just input an amount for insurance. Oh, by the way, JB, you raise your hand.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Coach. I just
Sige po.
quick question to Sir Glenn and probably
Mhm.
to you, Coach. I saw earlier that there was an entry, but it's placed under seventh year property. But what we're looking at was a 5-year property, and Sir Glenn explicitly explained that for the first year it's half, and for the sixth year it's half. But why is the entry under seventh year property?
Yung
Let
The
me have.
form
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead,
4562.
Glenn. Yeah, go
sige,
ahead,
Coach.
Glenn. No, go ahead.
Yung ano po kasi, yung 7 years po na yun, yun po yung kanina na second asset po natin na nilagay, na office desk. So baga, kung ano po, ibig ko po sabihin is ano, yung iba po yung amounts na ito kumpara po dito. So hindi po siya actually applicable ito, no? Kasi ito po yung 5-year property natin. Tawag to. Hindi ko na-answer ng maayos to, Coach. Pero hindi po siya same dito sa 7-year property. Magkaiba po sila ng calculation. Tapos,
Parang ano, you're saying, Sir Glenn, that it combines with the laptop, that's a 5-year property, plus your office table, that's a 7-year.
hindi po. Separate po talaga siya.
Okay.
Ito po yung, ay sorry, nasa na yung wala.
So basically, what Glenn was saying is that in his example, there were two assets, right? The laptop, which was in the prior year, ang laptop has 5-year life. Tapos yung isa, which was acquired in 2024, which was an office desk, which is a different classification naman yun. Ang category niya is office something, which has 7 years. So yung laptop, 5 years, yung office space, 7 years. So in-input niya yun both, pero he made sure that he classified them differently. Right? So yung isa, what he was using was the IRS guidelines. No, nasa drop down where he classified that 5-year and then 7 years. So those were two different inputs for two different assets. Sa Form 562, yung buong amount na depreciation, it appears to be naka-combined. Again, because yung laptop, hindi na siya nag-show as an item line doon sa table. Right? Because nga, prior year siya, as I was explaining earlier, yung Form 562 na table na nakalistan yung mga assets, ang nililist lang doon was the asset that was placed in that year. So kung prior year na siya, hindi na siya naka-list down doon.
Yep.
Kaya medyo na-confuse kayo siguro na naka-combine. Hindi siya yung buong depreciation amount lang yung naka-combine, but it was entered separately and those were two separate assets po.
Okay. Got it, Coach. Thanks,
All
Glenn.
right.
Thanks, Coach.
No problem. And sa ibang software naman, kahit hindi 2024, inakalist down talaga siya as an attachment or a schedule ng 4562. May limitation lang kasi tayo dito sa ProConnect kasi libre. Hindi natin ma-print to PDF yung buong return yung lahat ng attachment. But usually pag dating mo sa bottom part ng form 562, kahit pa yan kahit pa yan yung asset ay na purchase before 2024 for example, naka-list down pa rin siya lahat. Kahit nga yung asset na fully depreciated, naka-list down pa rin yan. That's usually is the case, right? So, doon lang sa first page na pinakita ni Glenn earlier, yung sa first page ng 4562, hindi nakalagay doon. But it will eventually be shown as a schedule. Parang supplementary schedule doon sa Form 562. So, if you come across that, or maybe if I have an example, Andre kasi is not here, but we had one return na may ganong example sana. But yeah, ganun yun. All the assets, unless yung asset ay dinispose, like binenta or parang hindi na used for business, hindi na yun mapupunta sa supplementary schedule. Kasi pwede ka namang fully depreciated na yung asset but you still carry it in the books kasi pag binenta mo yan, magkakapag-generate ka ng gain or loss, di ba? So you keep track of the asset. So yun yung purpose ng schedule na yun. Right, but very good question there, JB. Good spot. And then balikan lang natin si Alma. Miss Min, hold your thought there. Balikan lang natin si Alma, but I'll get back to you. Every year we have to manually input the depreciation of the asset. It is not automatic pala. As a tax preparer, we have to have a depreciation tracker of asset used in business. Tama po ba, Coach? Usually we can check the prior year return or ask the bookkeeper for the depreciation schedule of the account. Hindi naman po every year, right? Because like what I said, most of the clients that we probably would be working in the future are repeat clients, right? Repeat clients meaning client nyo na sila before pa, right? And so that means when you roll over the return, let's say for example, 2024 tayo ngayon, di ba? Pagdating ng 2025, the ProConnect will update. So the 2025 return will become available in ProConnect and pwede nating i-roll forward yung 2024 return na ginawa natin to 2025. So ikakopy niya yun lahat, yung asset doon. Right? So, hindi nyo na kailangan pang every year mag-i-input kapag returning clients, which is usually the case. Like 90% of the case, returning clients naman yung, especially kung baguhan kayo sa firm na you'll be working for in the future, hindi naman kayo bibigyan niyan ng client na new, right? Meaning, ibang preparer or ibang firm yung gumawa ng return nila last year. So nangyayari lang tong ganitong entry kapag yun yung situation. Okay? Clear naman po, Miss Maria? Perfect. Right. So before we go to Chona's comment, Miss Min, you had a question. You raised your hand earlier.
Opo.
Sorry,
Hindi, okay lang po, sir. Natututo po ako. Siyempre, hindi ko rin po alam. May tanong lang po ako, sir. Kasi, ah, unang-una, ang galing ni Sir Glenn, napakita niya po sa atin yung asset, nasa IRS publication kung 5 or 7 years. Kasi, di ba, Sir Chris, may mga ibang
Mhm.
kasi kung na single return to sa business kasi, sabihin natin, majority of the taxpayers, maaaring hindi nga nila po alam yung concept ng depreciation. Or kung alam po nila yung concept ng depreciation, they go by the 5. Kunwari, 5 year, 10 year, gano'n, di ba po? So, there are instances, maaaring kung alam nila yon by default, they will be thinking of 5 year depreciation. Pero like katulad po na sinabi ni Sir, sa yung office expenses, ginawa po 7. Kasi medyo kwake, di ba po? 7 kung kwake, hindi siya 5, 10, 15. Kasi 7 po ito. So that means, meron pong difference. So, halimbawa, yung taxpayer, medyo alam niya depreciation, pwede na-appreciate niya over 5 years. Tapos tayo po, for tax purposes, because of IRS Publication 7, paano po natin to i-harmonize? I mean, when I say harmonize, syempre in terms of depreciation, maaaring overstated yung sa side ni client kasi tapos, kasi nag-bonus depreciation tayo ng 60% first year kung yung ganun po. Pero po, paano po yung harmonization na to? Sasabihin po natin to kay client, tapos a-adjust niya books niya. Paano kung, syempre, si client, maaring hindi niya pa masyado mag-gets yung concept kasi ang kwake nga, 7 years, yung ganyan. Maybe he or she will stick to the 5 year, pero pretty straightforward. Pero paano po yun pag, hindi ko po sorry, hindi ko po ma-picture kasi wala pa ako na-encounter na ganito, Sir Chris.
Yeah, no problem. I hear you and I get what you're saying.
Opo. Thank you po.
Meron tayong ginagawa especially pag business return na book to tax na reconciliation. So ano yung difference between the book and the tax? And usually nagka-come up yan yung mga depreciation, yung mga deductions na nasa tax return pero wala sa books. So what we do as tax preparer, hindi naman kasi si client, usually hindi si taxpayer yung gumagawa ng books niya, may bookkeeper siya. Right? So we communicate to the bookkeeper that, hey, this is the adjusting entries that we did for the return. You may want to take that into account sa books so that you can do an AGE sa books. And that's what you were referring to as harmonization. Right? So it's the bookkeeper who does the adjustment kung gusto niya. Pero kung hindi, then that's fine. Bahala siya sa buhay niya. It doesn't really matter. Right? It doesn't really matter what he used. But we communicate as a tax preparer that these are the adjustments that we made. So you reported to us an income of, let's say, 1 million because ito yung depreciation deduction mo. But sa pagdating sa tax, we only have like 700,000. And the difference is where these items, again, that we are providing you a copy for, so you can adjust the books accordingly. Ang advantage naman nun, pag in-adjust kasi ni bookkeeper yung books, pagdating naman sa sa the following year na mag-prepare ka ng return, nagma-match na yung books mo, yung books sa tax. Right? Wala ka ng difference na i-eliminate yung difference. Pero madalas hindi ini-input yun ni bookkeeper kasi hindi rin niya alam. Again, pag bookkeeper ka na walang alam sa tax, you would not understand the adjusting journal entries. So most of the time, hindi yun ina-adjust ni bookkeeper. But in cases na yung firm is the bookkeeper and the taxpayer, yun, nag-harmonize. Kasi nga, iisa lang yung firm na humahawak doon sa libro ni taxpayer.
Opo, sir.
Yeah, minsan din yung taxpayer or taxpayer, I've experiences before, kami na yung nag-adjust sa books. May access kami sa QuickBooks or sa books, kami na nag-adjust doon para kasi nga mahirap yang i-explain sa bookkeeper. Mahirap, it would take time na ito yung concept ng tax depreciation, we base it from the IRS, blah blah blah. Hindi masyadong gets yan ng bookkeeper. Kaya nga, lucky yung iba dito na bookkeeper na may ganito ng idea because now you understand the differences in the book depreciation versus tax depreciation.
Opo.
Right? Na-address naman, Ms. Luz? Yes po.
Opo, follow up lang po. So it's very good kung same ang preparer, same ang bookkeeper. But my question is, hindi ko alam kasi like I'm trying just to imagine sa Philippines kasi if your gross income is 3 million, you have to be audited. Hindi ko alam yung ruling po sa US, sir, ha, kung kailangan nang i-audit yung libro nila. But in terms of, kasi remember, pag nag-audit yan, sasabihin niyo po dun sa libro, rather sa financial, kung ano yung depreciation method at saka ilang years So, like sa per tax, 7 years, pero sa books talaga, fix siya na 5 years. So, when you do the harmonization, ang tanong ko po, sir, kasi like, kung ikaw po ang preparer, ikaw ang bookkeeper, when you harmonize it, like, ibabaguhin po natin yung depreciation method from 5 years to 7 years because yun sabi ni IRS, or hindi natin babaguhin, but there will be a corollary entry, medyo malalim na ito. Yung mga tinatawag nilang deferred tax asset or deferred tax liability based on sa depreciation. Ganun po ba din yung ginagawa dun sa firm na siya yung mawak ng ITR tsaka book nung client? Ganun po ba yung, kasi wala po ako na
Good question.
Opo.
Yeah. I understand. So, kapag ganun na the same firm yung mahawak ng books at saka ng tax, yung bookkeeper, ina-advise na natin na wag nang maglagay ng depreciation. So, the books will not have any depreciation. Ang tinitake na depreciation every year is yung yung nasa tax. Right? So, sa QuickBooks naman, walang asset module ngayong yung QuickBooks. So, pag mag-depreciate ka doon, manual entry din naman talaga yun. Unlike sa other software na may fixed asset schedule, mag-enter ka doon, and then the accounting software will compute for the depreciation using whatever standard it is they're using, GAAP ba or IFRS or whatnot. Sa QuickBooks, walang ganun kasi. So, you can leave the depreciation line empty. Tapos i-fill in na lang siya after nung tax once the tax is prepared para one line item depreciation. Okay?
Sige po. Thank you po.
No problem. But excellent question. Sa mga ibang naguluhan, okay lang yan. Kasi si Miss Min, CPA na kasi to so we speak the same language if you know what I mean. So kung medyo na overwhelming yung information sa inyo, okay lang yan, hindi niyo pa maintindihan, makinig lang kayo. Right? Miss Alma, go ahead po.
Yes, coach. Kasi in the Philippine setting po kasi, dun sa income tax return, meron siyang parang portion doon wherein parang reconciling item kasi hindi nga nagbabalance si ITR versus book. So you have to put it there and then babalance na po siya. Is that also the same there sa US tax form na pwede mo siyang i-reflect dun sa isang portion tapos babalance na po siya?
Sa return, merong book to tax reconciliation sa business return. Which we will cover, hindi dito sa Schedule C. Doon tayo sa 1120S at saka 1065, may reconciliation ng book to tax. Pero hindi yung involved yung depreciation. It's not an issue on depreciation but other mga non-deductible items na deductible sa book, dinideduct sa books pero hindi dineduct sa tax return. So meron din sa business return which we will cover po in the future. But
Okay,
great
thank you
question.
po. Thank you po.
Oh, no problem po. Great question. I like questions. I really, really do.
Coach,
Shauna, is it advice? Sige, go ahead. Sino yan?
sorry.
Yes
Kung
po, Jenny.
I am thinking, Coach, ba kung meron akong ma-misclaim na depreciation in a prior year, can
Mhm.
we generally amend yung year's return to claim it, or simply ma-carry over na lang siya sa sa succeeding year?
Very good question ulit. Yes, pwede mag-amend ng return. Kung may mga na-miss out na depreciation, like mga asset na hindi na input, especially kung material yung amount. Pero kung hindi naman material yung amount, pwede naman na prospectively na lang. Kasi 'di ba, yung depreciation is ano ba 'yan? Errors, 'di ba? Na you can do prospectively, not necessarily retroactively. But again, kung malaki yung impact nun sa tax return, look at the materiality threshold din. If it's worth amending the return, yes, okay naman. IRS is real okay with amending the tax return. Right.
Thank you.
Great questions coming. Thank you, po. Is it advisable to advise clients to outright expense fixed assets 2,500 and below to avoid a very long list of assets to track and to maximize tax deduction as well? Usually we take it already as a taxpayer. We don't even need to inform the client that we did that outright expense. If it's a firm-wide policy, kasi usually it's the firm's policy to adopt de minimis, right? De minimis na deduction. So pag sinabi ng firm owner na, hey guys, anything na 2,500 we will expense that right away, hindi na natin i-classify as asset, then we adopt it to any other client, to any clients that we will be preparing their tax returns for. So generally, it's a firm policy rather than us telling the client that, hey, we do this, we do that. Kasi si taxpayer naman, most of them, they don't know what the concept of depreciation. And usually, yung depreciation, it can really be very, very helpful sa taxpayer pag yung business niya is maraming capital assets. Kasi it can become a tax strategy. But in that case, yan, kailangan ng may communication between the taxpayer and the firm. Kasi we need to tell them that, hey, we are going to use the Section 179, we're going to use bonus depreciation in order for us to lower your deduction or your tax this year. You know what I mean? So it's a part of the tax strategy where because of the significance of the amounts involved, meron ng interaction between the taxpayer and the firm owner. Pero pag mga maliliit lang na business owner, and then where we do the mini deduction, usually we don't need to communicate that with the taxpayer. Okay. Right. Thank you, Chona. Carlo, question. Baka hindi ko lang nakita. Do we still need to input the convention for the succeeding years? Current year pala na prior year asset. So again, kung returning client yan, yung convention na yan will also carry forward to the following year. But if it's a new client, yes, you will input that initially, but the following year you don't need to because it's gonna carry forward dun sa return. Yeah, I hope I got your question correctly, Carlo, and answered it correctly then. JR, thank you, sir. Galing. Can you also depreciation in home office use? Depreciation for home office, pwede naman yan. You have to allocate nga lang the portion of the asset use. Hindi siya masyadong ginagamit sa Schedule C, right? But it's usually used sa 1120S na return. even 1120, yung may accountable plan. So kino-compute natin yung purchase value, no, we take the purchase value of the asset. Meron tayong Excel worksheet for accountable plan so that tinitake din yung depreciation portion ng home office para deduction doon sa business return. But for Schedule C, bihira mo tong makita, only because most of the Schedule C filers use the standard deduction, which is yung kahapon na take natin, yung $5 per square footage, or yung direct na expense, right? Bihirang nagde-depreciate, but it can. I just don't know how. I don't have a personal experience. Again, because I have not come across a Schedule C filer na nag-use ng depreciation doon sa kanyang home office. Kasi kung meron man, it's very, very insignificant. Yung materiality ng amount, it's very immaterial. So, to answer your question, JR, yes, it is, but it's not very common. It's not common at all. Right, so yeah, of course, iba-iba yung engagement fee kapag taxpayer and bookkeeper. Mas malaki yung taxpayer, guys. Tsaka one-time engagement lang yun. Kaya nga, if you're looking at doing tax prep, make it a career, you're in the right spot. The same in our farm practice, we do not enter the depreciation yet. Depreciation amount will be adjusted by the tax account na. Yeah. So Carlo is already working for as a tax preparer ba? Tama ba? Hindi po ba yung account na nag-handle ng nag-adjust between books and tax? Yeah, that's right. And then, wow, just hearing all the questions makes me feel like I belong to the upper echelon of my really great for the group. Yeah, di ba? Iba kasi yung, ibang level kasi pag nag-uusap na yung mga may alam sa books, no? Kaya, I'm also very conscious about the others na baka, I don't belong here because now they're talking about depreciation na, they're talking about reconciling items na. Eh, di ba? Sa minds niyo parang, dito jargons na, di ba? So, in that case, pasensyahan nyo na, no? But do we pressure you to like, really, really understand those? Hindi. Again, I will like to emphasize this, na kahit wala kang accounting background, you can become a tax preparer because you will learn the why after, right? What we're doing now is we're doing the how and the why at the same time. But if you're looking at preparing tax return, okay na yung you know the how and a little bit of why. You know what I'm saying? Because meron naman na tayong mga tools to search for the why, right? Meron namang Perplexity, meron namang sa Kendall, introduce niya sa akin yung Blue Jay na AI na sobrang mahal daw. But it's really just for tax professional na gamit. And I'm starting to use it and I'm starting to love it. Kaso nga lang, medyo slow siya. But Perplexity kasi sobrang bilis. Like, the moment you enter the question, ang bilis ng sagot niya. Yung Blue Jay para siyang tao na nag-iisip pa. Tapos it takes a while for it to give you the result. But yung result niya super summarized or basta mas detailed and mas arranged as opposed to Perplexity. And also, guys, word of caution, you don't rely everything that Perplexity says, right? Because Perplexity is not really for tax, it's for everything. And it just pulls on information that's available in the web, right? Hindi siya specialized, para siyang generalist rather than specialized. So if you feel that you're not getting the right answer, then research some more. Or it could also be because of how you phrase the question, right? Kaya nga, I always emphasize this, communication is not about being good with English, like pronouncing the right word, enunciating. It's just the finesse, right? But communication is really how you ask questions so that you will understand the response, right? It's basically boils down to it boils down to you understanding and being understood, right? It really boils down to that. That's communication. So sometimes when we ask the wrong question, we get the wrong answer, right? So if you know how to phrase your question, you know how to ask your question, that means you will get the right answer. Kaya nga, I love questions because that's how I can tell someone is able to understand what it is that I'm trying to say. Right? Kasi nagigauge ko yan sa question. Right? So, make it a really good skill to develop yung question asking nyo. And how do I like what do I do to develop that skill is I watch a lot of interviews. Yung mga one-on-one like Boy Abunda for example in the Philippines or like I watch a lot of interviews of say Steve Jobs or the people that I look up to, and the way that the interviewer asks the question and how they're able to get that response from the interviewee, na-amaze ako doon. So parang, ang galing ng pagkakatanong niya. Diba? So, and then you probe, right? You probe. Just like what happened to Melissa earlier. She was just clicking everywhere. And again, because she's in this area, she's a neophyte, right? But if it was me, I will pause, right? I will tell the presenter, like, hey, I don't know where to go. Where do you want me to go? Right? And then I will hear the instruction. Okay, Melissa, go to the top right corner of your screen. You see this? Yes. Then you see that? Go down below. Okay, then I will go. Right? May control yung conversation. Right? Hindi yung all over the place yung conversation na kung saan-saan na napupunta, we end up wasting our time. That's communication. Again, I'm not looking for someone who knows how to speak English very, 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 very well because Americans do not look for that, right? In America, you don't have people na marunong ding mag-English. Marami din namang hindi marunong mag-English. Marami dito na mga mga Spanish speaking or any other country sila nanggaling. So they're really accustomed to people not very, very good with English. But for as long as you are understood, for as long as they understand you and you understand them, then that's communication, right? And then they call it the finesse, the pizzazz of you being able to communicate English well will come, as you go along. As you continue to speak the language, you become better at it, right? So, ano lang naman, sharing ko lang sa inyo how you navigate a conversation, especially in a remote setting like this, where you see a lot of instances where you will share your screen and you will get directed by someone, virtually on how to navigate your screen. You have to have the control of the conversation, right? Para alam niyo both, right? Minsan may encounter ako na sasabihin sa Bisaya I don't know how to say it in Tagalog. So, i-click ni sir. Kani sir, i-click. Kani. What's kani? I'm not seeing, right?
This
What
one.
is it? Yeah, no. Like tinuturo niya sa finger niya yung screen. Of course, I'm not seeing that, right? So you have to say, sir, I'm going now to the right corner of my screen. Is this where you want me to go? Right? Or, sir, do you see that icon? You describe where you want that person to go. Hindi yung sinasabi niya, tinuturo niya yung screen. Kani, sir, kani. Oh, di ba? What's kani? I'm not seeing it. Right? So that's how I kind of, sort of control the conversation. Yes, Melissa, you want to add something?
Yes, sir. Kasi binalikan ko lang yung form ko. I would like to show you. Hindi ko kasi alam kung hold on. Kasi napunta siya sa other income deduction sa 1040 ko. Okay lang ho ba? Sorry.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Yung ginawa natin kaninang meals deduction, ay kasi,
Yes,
as I've told earlier, na gumawa ako pero nasa 1040 yung yung mga na-inputs ko. Wala pa akong mga expenses. And then yung result ng 938 na yon, yung amount na yon, napunta sa other additional income pero negative amount sa 1040. Ayun po.
Yeah.
Yun, pwede ko pang i-show lang
Sure.
saglit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Napunta siya.
And then while you're doing that, you have a question on sale of a depreciated asset. How is the depreciation recapture handled? It's really complicated when there is a depreciation recapture. We'll probably handle that at a later time. But if there's a sale of the asset, there is an option in your software where you will dispose the asset. So you dispose the asset and then you input the amount that it was sold for and si software na yung magko-compute kung may gain or loss ba based on that sale. Kasi kunyari, fully depreciated yung asset. Again, any proceeds that comes from that sale will be considered gain. But kung yung dito na papasok yung book value, so kung yung proceeds is lesser than the book value, then there could be a loss, right? So I don't think we have the time to cover disposal today because we're 2 minutes close to 9:30. But yeah, remind me to cover that some other time, yung disposal ng asset by sale. Or you can explore it yourself. Put some asset in your Schedule C and then try to navigate how to dispose it as a sale. Yeah. So you're showing your screen, Melissa. What is it that you wanna ask?
Yun po, ito yung schedule si kanina na result of our, yung inputs. Tapos, tuminta po kasi ako sa 1040 ko. Yun yung na-input ko kasi na, nandito siya sa, ito po siya, sir, additional income from Schedule 1, line 10. Negative siya. Schedule 1. Ayan po yung ano niya. So, ang nangyayari po, yung schedule C ko kanina, hindi ko kasi mahanap. Ganyan po pala yung effect niya. Napunta siya doon pag sa 1040 na, sa ITR mismo, negative, parang deduction, additional income pero deduction siya, sir.
Yeah, good question. So you entered the expense in Schedule C, right? And you had no income. So you actually incurred, or the taxpayer actually incurred a loss, right, of 938. So that 938 from your Schedule C will flow through your 1040 as a deduction dun sa, it will offset yung other income ng taxpayer, right? Pero kung naging income yan, it's gonna be an additional to the income, right? So yung Schedule C, Schedule D, these are actually just the form. This is just the form where you input, the income. But all of these will flow through the 1040. Right, it will flow through the 1040. And in your case, which was a very good example, there was a loss, and that loss carried forward to your 1040, specifically on, I think, what line was that, 17 or 19? And then if you want to drill down, kung meron kang maraming Schedule C doon, everything will be lumped under that line. But if you want to drill down, go to Schedule 1, kung ano yung mga composition ng amount na yon. Kasi sa Schedule 1, doon lahat yung other income and other deductions. And then, yeah. So a Schedule C will offset an active income, right? So kaya nga it's a tax strategy then. I told you this before na yung mga high income earner, what they do is they start a Schedule C business and then they incur losses from that business. They make deductions from that business because that would help offset their W2 income, right? So it's more of a tax strategy because you really don't want a taxpayer having so much tax due diba? So don't worry about it for now, but it will come to you when you become a seasoned tax preparer. You will also get to a point where you will do tax strategy as a taxpayers, but that will probably come 2 or 3 years down the road after you being able to navigate the tax preparation world. But it will eventually come again if you make this if you make a commitment to make this as a career, right? So yun lang. Good spot there, Millie. I see where your thought process is going, and I'm glad that you asked that question. Right. Yan lang po kasi laman ng Schedule C. Yeah, very good, Iris Lynn. Good discussion, very interesting topics. Thank you po. So yeah, 9:33 again. I said earlier that we're gonna have to close at sara natin yung tindahan at 9:30. Kasi it's church day today for me. Sunday morning lang in case sa mga ibang hindi alam, I'm currently in Canada, particularly in Montreal, so I'm 12 hours behind. So it's 9:30 in the morning right now. So yeah, it's a really good discussion, guys. I love our progression. So I guess we have already covered a lot on Schedule C. And if you have gone this far from where we started, ah, you're learning a lot, right? Because Schedule C, this is an intermediate discussion. And mind you, we've covered a lot on Schedule C, right? And I would say you were a lot better than I am when I started. Because I didn't know these things when I started. Automatic nagpa-plug na ako ng schedules. Hindi ko man alam ano tong mileage na to, ano tong home office na to. Hindi ko alam yun. I didn't know that because I didn't have to go through this kind of training, right? I have to learn on the fly. That's a term, right? And so you are very, very lucky to be in here. And if you have been able to catch up, if like you join us somewhere in the middle, and you were able to catch up from the start until now, congratulations. I really feel strongly for you. And if you were here attending live since day one, congratulations. And I know it that you're learning. I don't even have to ask it because I know you're learning because I am learning, right? Even if I've been doing this for quite a while, I am learning. Like, yeah, every day I'm also learning. So let's just continue the momentum. I've said this a lot. This is sort of a commitment, pseudo commitment. Hopefully, I'm cutting short my travel. I'm supposed to be back in the Philippines in September. First week of September was my target. But I really miss home, right? I miss Filipino food. Nagkikrave na ako ng sinigang, ng tinola, ng and so I'm cutting it short. I'm coming back first week of August, I think. So, or maybe last week of July. So I'm already looking for flights. I want to go home. So we'll be in the same time zone, hopefully, and we could hopefully maybe, I don't know if you guys are open to it, like changing our schedule, because like 8 p.m. may not be work. I don't know if that works, but let's have this on a different discussion. I only have this 8 a.m. kasi that is also what works for me. Nagmi-meet tayo na hindi masyadong too early, too late for you, and it's not too early, too late for me as well, right? It's like we're meeting halfway in terms of time zone. So that's it. Well, again, I haven't finalized my travel plans yet, but I'm likely going to cut it short and be back in the Philippines first week of August, hopefully. So yeah, that's it. And I want to thank you again for coming today. We have 50 people who stayed with us toward the end. That's really something. And yeah, I hope you got screenshots that you can share and then, you can post somewhere. But otherwise, it was a great session today. And I look forward to another insightful session tomorrow. You have a good one, guys. Bye for now.
Meet our free U.S. tax preparation course brought to you by the Borderless Accountant. We are inviting you to join our community. Live training, reputable tax firms as resource speakers, recorded, replayable at higit sa lahat, Libre. To join, like and follow our official Facebook page, join our Facebook group for important updates, and fill out our Google form to be included in our mailing list. See you there!